Alrighty, and we are live from Columbus, OH, and this is the Ramsey Show Aftershow episode 602. Alrighty, and we are live. And we have the audio, which is good. I'm Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions Certified Financial Coach, and you're watching this on youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And for my financial content, just scroll past the Oak Island playlist and you'll see the Ramsey Show After Show playlist and the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist and the music playlist that has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. Like, for example, You Belong Dead Free. You belong dead free. Market report. Down at the moment. Average between all four indexes here. Indices, you could also say. What is it? Negative 1.06 for the down for the Russell Small Cap Index. And 41, so that's 1.41 there, and up is 0.43 and less than a point percent even. 0.11%, so 0.50 something. So yeah, overall it's down today. S&P 500 just rose for 6 straight months. So, yeah. So, might be subdued today for whatever reason. That's all I have to say about that. Let's see what the rest of the world is looking like. Mostly up in Europe. Everything up in Asia. The US dollar is down to the euro. It just changed. Down to the Japanese yen, down to the British pound low, but up against the Canadian dollar and up against the Australian dollar. Who we have for earnings? We have today, we have Palantir. Tomorrow, the AMD and the big tech stocks. That's one of them, and that will sometimes get the market going. AppLovin, I'm assuming that's some kind of app creation company. There's the Robinhood, D-Wave Systems, no clue on that. Assuming something electronic. And iron, no clue as far as that either. Most followed single stocks on the Google, Apple down, Alphabet up, Microsoft up, Amazon up 4.7%. Oh, hey, guess what? It's November. Happy November, everybody. And of course, only, I don't know, what, 25 and 25 and 27, 52 shopping days left before Christmas. Met up as well, 0.27, and Tesla 2.74. Let's see if there's any fun headlines to talk about. OpenAI signs $38 billion compute deal. I am available, Google. Or if they pulled this from CNBC and CNBC is the one that did this typo, I'm sure that should be computer or computing deal right there. So something's going on there. That is not correct. Partnering with cloud leader for the first time. So I would assume computer or maybe computing. Kimberly Clark, agrees to buy Tylenol owner Kenview in $48.7 billion deal, creating consumer staples giant. All right. Right, because Kimberly Clark owns a lot of other things. I thought Tylenol would be something like, oh gosh, what's one of those other companies? It's like I think it's a hyphen name too, but I can't remember the name of it. And I thought they owned it. I guess not. And so one thing Doc said about the when in Back to the Future 3, when he went to the Old West, he said the thing I really miss here is Tylenol. S&P 500 and NASDAQ jump. We saw it. They are both up to kick off November as Amazon and NVIDIA lead the way. Oh, yeah. What's the NVIDIA? Normally they would have the NVIDIA ticker symbol here and say what it's gone up, but it's probably down below. I don't know who he is, says Trump after pardoning crypto tycoon. Okay. Well, hey man, it's trying to keep track of everybody that you're pardoning. That can be difficult. So who knows what's going on with that? Maybe he just didn't want to talk about it. That's a way of brushing it off. Brushing it off. Not gonna talk about it. Control of Tesla is at stake in vote on Elon Musk's pay plan. All right. Yeah, his company, right? And but it's always fun when the person that creates the company creates a board of trustees or whatever like that, and then the board of trustees votes out the owner. That's always fun. FDA's top drug regulator resigns after federal officials probed serious concerns about his conduct. Hey, how about we maintain our good conduct no matter what we're doing, even if we're not the FDA's top drug regulator? But perhaps if you're involved in government, maybe you might want to be a good boy or good girl. Risky loan from housing bust era is making a comeback. That is not good. That's from the Wall Street Journal. Enjoy CarPlay while you still can. I don't have any of that such technology in my vehicle. I have the AM/FM radio. Help, but I didn't expect this major adult milestone to turn my husband into the possession police. Okay. All right. Drama much? All right. Well, maybe he has to be the possession police because you are the possession criminal. Maybe you buy too much stuff. Maybe you spend too much money. Let's take a look at that one actually. Let's see. Get to that in a second, but I wanted to find where's the NVIDIA? There it is. And NVIDIA is 2.93% up, which of course helps that NASDAQ up there. So yeah, still overall down for the day, but that is going to happen sometimes. S&P up just a hair over break even today, but NASDAQ up coming up on 0.5%. Let's see if I can get Slate here. Yeah, I know you want to talk about my ad blocker. Just like I don't like to talk about my flare. I don't like to talk about my air blocker. Help, I didn't expect this major adult milestone to turn my husband into the possession police. This makes no sense. It sure does. If you're spending too much money, maybe he doesn't like it. Maybe he doesn't bloody like it. Dear Prudence. Oh, what is this? Dear Prudence. Is this like a Dear Abby kind of thing? Dear Prudence is the Slate's advice column. Okay. I've been with my husband almost 14 years. We've been married. Yeah, married. for 4 years and have lived together since around 2013. He's great and I love him so much, but now I'm going to complain about him. When we were young, poor, and renting, my husband was always a slob. He never picked up after himself, left his dirty and clean clothes together in a mountain on the side of the bed. Would rather die than wash a dish, etc. Okay. His car was putrid, and apparently that was fine with you. As a medium clean person, but not a neat freak, I was annoyed by the clutter and grossness, but learned to live with it. Since no amount of begging ever changed it, I still do essentially 100% of all daily cleaning, tidying tasks, except for his laundry, and that's your choice. You stayed there with him for that. Okay, ever since we bought our house. And so is this the thing that you got to point out bad things about him first so you can justify your spending? Is that what it is? Ever since we bought our house and got a new shiny car, he's become fussy in a way that I find off-putting. Oh, he frets and fusses over microscopic dings in the bumper, can't get over the latest landscaper screw-up, rushes to put a pad under the paper I'm writing on at our ancient, already scratched-up table. Interesting. Leaps up and scolds me if I scoot a chair a few centimeters rather than pick it up. If any possessions are remotely married. That is quite a bit of change in him, and so I wonder what brought that on. Maybe just became an adult. I don't know, but too much sounds like. So I'm with you there. I get it. If if the table has already got all kinds of scratches on it, maybe he just doesn't want any more on them. I don't know. Remotely marred or imperfect. It really seems to stress him out. That doesn't stop him from continuing to be the same slob he always was in his own way. Okay. I feel like, for me, I can't criticize him for being more cautious about things, but it seems like the only thing he cares about is not physically damaging property, not keeping the daily environment we live in clean and tidy. Okay, so this is not about her spending money. I thought it was when it said the possession police. It's just trying to he's just trying to keep his things from getting damaged, scratched, etc., etc. He's being very careful about some things, but still being a slob in others. All right, let's answer some actual money questions. What up, Sid? What up, Crumb? Devil 722022002, excuse me. Roof needs replacement. Before we finish baby step 3, and I'm stressed about breaking the rules. Well, don't break the rules then. Following Dave's plan, and we're halfway through building our emergency fund when the roof inspector said we need replacement within a year. Cost is $40K, and our current emergency fund is only $17K. We could save the other $17 in about 6 months. 17 and 17 is 34, not 40. First of all, learn math. That's so dumb. But the roof might not last that long. It said within a year. He said within a year. If it needed it faster than that, you don't think he would have said faster than that? Dave says no debt except the mortgage. That is correct. But what about necessary repairs you can't delay? No. Part of baby step 0 is you decide you're not going to do the debt thing anymore. A HELOC would let us do it now and pay it off quickly, but that goes against the baby steps. That's right. So don't freaking do it. Waiting feels risky if the roof fails during the rainy season and causes water damage. Talking through the opinions with an advisor from Realm, I don't know what that is, helped me see that for this first project we could handle the critical repairs now. Right, you could patch it now and then finish your emergency fund and then start saving. And if it does become an emergency, the emergency fund could be part of it. I'm not gonna read the rest, no need, but yeah, find out for sure. Get a roofer out to take a look at it. I mean, the roof inspector. Who's the roof inspector? Is that a roof repair person? And especially if you didn't call him, if he was going door to door like that, or this some other way of that he brought himself into your life, and then you were like, oh, yeah, I better check my roof. Um, you might not want to believe that. So you might want to get more than one opinion. How about we do that? But yeah, it doesn't all. It's not always a situation where there's an issue with the roof, and that means it needs to be done immediately. He said within a year. Even the guy supposedly that may or may not be trying to drum up business said within a year, didn't say within 3 months or within 6 months. Let's see. Hello, hello. Don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. Sid says a roof salesman would always say your roof needs replacement. Yep. Could have been. Interesting spelling for could have been. Making could have been one word. And could have been insurance company. Could have been. It's possible. Specific part 3777. Anyone have a high yield savings account open with VO Bank? Never heard of them. Parking Pumpkin 5264. They said we were falling, but we were building freedom. Oh, failing, excuse me. They said we were failing, but we were building freedom. Is this friends and family? 4 months before our house flooded, my fiance, 28 at the time, sold his 2021 Scat Pack Challenger. It was eating $1,400 a month between the car payment, insurance, gas, and maintenance. Oh my goodness gracious me. He replaced it with a $3,500 cash truck. Excellent. And everyone thought we'd lost our minds. That's actually very reasonable. Because you're taking the $1,400 a month, you're taking that down to just insurance and gas and maintenance then, because you don't have that car payment. So what, for a month, $200 maybe? Anyway, but his family was concerned. They made comments, questioned my. See, yeah, and the whole thing is because if you do it and deny yourself and sacrifice things, oh, that means they can do it too, but they don't wanna. So that's when they make comments and they question your influence on him and act like you were ruining his life because we didn't buy new things or spend money like they did. Yeah, that means they just didn't want anything interrupting their paradigm of the way that they are doing it wrong. They couldn't wrap their heads around why I would rather save and repurpose than constantly upgrade. Because we're not dumb, is why. I love finding things on the side of the road and repurposing or beautifying. Okay, but that one decision let him save $10K in 5 months. Indeed. So the rest is oh my goodness, War and Peace here. Alrighty, that's excessive. That's excessive. Let's just pick and choose here. A couple want, what is it? We freaked out. Had around 40K saved, around 50K, enough to pay for the rest of the wedding, live off for 6 months. Everyone freaked out. His family told him I was dragging him down, ruining his life. Oh, making him live in a camper, making him. Got married anyway. Okay, this is like the whole life story in autobiography. And we're doing better than ever. Yeah, obviously you are. Obviously you are. Because you are being realistic with your finances. And it sounds like the family and friends are not. So, yeah, we didn't fail. We just stopped trying to impress anyone. Yeah. Yeah, that's what all those people who said we were failing, they're still sitting around wondering how we did it. Yeah. Well, they know how. They just don't want to admit it. Sarah here now, frequent poster. Seems like once every 2 days or so. Voice to text, spelled it that way. Interesting. Spelled could have been like that. All right. Well, Crumb, what I would suggest in that case, start speaking the King's English and say could have been instead of could have been. Talking too fast for the text to speech. Maybe AI should get on that so it can recognize it faster. What order do you do things in? Baby step order? It's a numbered list. So, but maybe that's not what, whoops, back to sleep. Maybe that's not what you is talking about. What's up, Sarah? Life fell apart, but no debt. Great. Not a lot of work, but started to get some coming in. Should rebuild my emergency fund. It's nearly 500 bloody quid left. Then what? Then what? I have a mortgage. Should I tackle paying that off? Well, so you see, as I thought, it's what we call self-explanatory here. The full emergency fund is step 3, right? Okay, so say you got step 3, and then you're doing, supposedly, after that, you're supposed to be doing 4, 5, and 6. If you have an emergency that takes some of the emergency money, guess what? You're back in step 3. You pause investing while you fill up the emergency fund again. You do not put money into kid college savings. You do not put extra to the house. The priority here is step 3, and you don't do step 3 while also doing steps 4, 5, and 6. That's a no on that. So since this is step 3, I would say you get step 3 done before you would start sending extra money to the house, to the mortgage, pay off the mortgage early. Certainly you would do that, but you need to get step 3 done first and then go back to 4, 5, and 6, which are done at the same time. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are solo steps. You're doing them only just one a piece. Just step 1 while you're doing step 1, and you don't move forward until you are done with step 1, and then you go to step 2, and then that one. You do just that one you don't do anything else at the same time as you're doing step 2. And then you do step 3, and that's the only thing you're doing there. You don't start investing early. You don't start K-College early. You don't start sending extra to the house. You are saving your emergency fund. It's your emergency fund. Fairly important. That's why it's step 3 and not behind the rest of these. Alrighty. So as I thought, so why don't you understand that? I would love to know from some of these people why they can't pick that up from the list of baby steps. And see, it's even, if they just look right over here, it's even right over here. Look, oh look, the baby steps. So how can you not pick that out there? I don't know. I don't know. Sarah, you guys, you might have guessed by her being a frequent poster on here and like not, just not commenting really, but always asking questions. So perhaps, no, unknown what the problem is there. Sid says when life falls apart and there's debt, it's worse. That much is certain. Doing the Ramsey advice, having the emergency fund, etc., etc. That makes it easier to deal with any situation that might come up. Harry Swimmer, yuck. 3303. Should we sell our condo and buy a house? Why? We're living. how about we use the King's English again? We are living in a, not just we are living high cost of living area. In fully paid 3 bedrooms, 1 bath condo with garage. We pay HOA. Why would you want to move? I understand not liking HOA, but why move if it's fully paid off? Our condo is in a nice neighborhood. What's the problem then? Kids are in college, but living with us. Should we buy a house with mortgage and go into debt? No. Why? For what purpose? We are in early 50s and will retire in the next 10 years. The reasons for buying a house, here we go, are more space. Why do you need more space? Because the kids are in college and they're living with you. That will only be for a short time more. So you're gonna buy a house for how many more years is it? Even if they just started, that's 4 years. So you're gonna buy a house for 4 years and then you're gonna have too much house. Unless they're gonna live with you into when they're 35, like a caller was today. He and his brother, both adult children, supposedly living with mommy and daddy. The reason for more space, 2 bathrooms, backyard, driveway, etc. Should we move forward? Why do you need that stuff? You don't need any of that. Continue living in a condo. Thanks for your suggestions. I would say continue living in a condo. You know, if this is like early on in the life, and obviously where did your kids live before they went to college? If it was in that condo, then they're used to it. Some people just can't help but try to look for ways to spend money unnecessarily. So I don't know why you would do that. Especially since theoretically they would be graduating college in 4 years, unless they're going to become doctors. And it could be 4 years, or it could be less than 4 years if they've already started college. So that's going to be a no. You don't buy a house with a mortgage and go into debt and you're going to retire in the next 10 years. So yeah, why would you do that? Why would you do that for something so short term? Don't do that. I see disaster 6109 27 man, international student, 105K debt, 6.5K car, 90.8K salary. Am I cooked? All right, millennial / Gen Z with the cooked. I mean, I get it. It means, screwed or something like that. But the kids always have to say their own things. I guess probably maybe back in my day, I guess my generations probably did it as well. I just wasn't aware that it was happening, I guess. And might not have realized that words were changing like that. 75K student loans, 15 years. 30K personal loan, 3 years. What is the years? The time you have to pay it back? 6.5K car for 12 months. Graduated last year. The debt payments are taking most of my income. Hey, you graduated last year. Where's the job from the schooling? So that 75K in student loans, what kind of degree did that get you, and why aren't you making more money than that? Or did you take underwater basket weaving as your major? And I now have to swipe CC sometimes again. So the credit card, I now have to. Do you have to, or are you choosing to? Could only work on campus due to visa status during college and some internships, which were not helpful because I had to pay for internship courses at college, which costed. It's cost. Maybe not wherever. Maybe that's British speak or whatever. Costed more than actual amount I earned during internship, or maybe maybe English is a second language, so apologies if so. Edit income, take home pay. Should have opened it from the beginning there. What do we got here? Debt payment. 2345. That's a lot. You're making 90K a year. Where's the rest of the money going? Yeah, we got the loans. $445 payment, but of course that pays it off in a year. I feel like that might be some kind of less reputable auto dealer maybe for that. But let's see. Anyway, living in bills 3077. Why? Rent 1450. Why is it so much? What hopefully not in freaking Boston or some other thing like that. A lot of international students seem to go to the higher cost of living areas to do their collegey stuff. Let's see. Utilities and renters insurance, 120. That's fine. The rent, I mean, that might be cheap for that area. Don't know. Internet, phone, $100. Groceries, $300 a month. That's not bad either. Eating out and entertainment, $305. So hey, guess what? That becomes zero or close to zero. That becomes more like, $30. How about that? Well, the rest goes on to debt. So that's a little bit of it there. Subscriptions, $49. May cut those down. Cigarettes, hey, got a great idea. Stop smoking. Your lungs will appreciate that as well. Gas and car maintenance, $200. Quit driving around for fun if you're doing that. Send money to India, of course. Gotta send money to the parents always. And so that's some of it as well. Does that take care of all of it? Let me get the calculator up here real quick. Let's see. So 1450. 120. 100. 300. 305. 49. 150 for cigarettes. Again, cut that out. And 400 there. Plus the payments for the, let's see, what is it? Personal loans. 1100 plus $800 a month for the student loans. That's 445 for the car. That is 5219. And the take-home pay is $5,400 a month. If you are doing investing out of your paycheck, you should stop that. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. You just live in too high a cost of a living area to be making, if this was the Midwest, you wouldn't have any problem because you could get a $1,000 apartment instead, and that's $500, but you're doing it to yourself with the cigarettes. And hey, I got a great idea. Maybe you don't send money to India for a while. I know that's against your culture, but you're in America now, so I would just let the American spirit take you over and say, "Oh, I'm in America now, so I don't have to do things of my Indian culture." You could do that. But other than that, you need to cut out some of this. So cigarettes, 150, and the eating out and entertainment, you just stop that for a while, and that's 450. That's as that, and so all of that makes the debt go away faster. Can clean up 504 immediately. What up, simply? Calling me coachy. That's nice. Baby Sid is 4 months old on Friday. Sitting up assisted, but not rolling over yet. There's 2166 coming out of his check. Yeah, I wonder what that would be. I wonder what it would be. That's why I think it might be some investing happening there. And so you would cut that out as well. I don't know what else it would be. I don't know what else it would be. And that's also a problem. I mean, this person seems to have a pretty good grasp of English, fairly decent grasp of it. But I work with people that do not remember ever saying yes to be signed up for the 401k plan, or being asked about insurance or anything like that. So, it can sometimes, I guess it can sometimes just, these people can fall around along the wayside. This person, I think, has a better understanding of English than some people that I work with. That just don't have enough grasp of English to be able to understand easily things like the things that you can opt into and opt out of in your as far as paycheck. So, but yeah, definitely, our our loans. I guess they have loans in India as well, but definitely, and what did we need the personal loan for? If it was something you bought, sell it, that kind of thing. So you just need to work on your spending there. $150 a month in cigarettes and eating out and entertainment 305. Yeah. So that would be, of course, what we call here in the Ramsey verse doing it wrong. Thick natural 3171. My spouse is still not completely on board with living debt-free life and says they want to enjoy the years they have left. How would you respond? I'm 37. My husband is 46, almost 10 years older than me. Yeah. We come from completely different backgrounds. My parents are wealthy, self-made millionaires who started with very little and sacrificed and worked hard to stay out of debt and become successful. Great. Mirroring this model, I too worked hard. Okay, great. Have significant savings, 200K, despite having a progressive disability all my life. Of course, there's more to it. Of course, there is. My goodness gracious me. Writing autobiographies today on the Reddit. where I made sacrifices. Okay, my husband grew up with poor parents who taught him a little about being friend. Of course, of course, of course, of course, of course. But then, see, the problem is you knew all this stuff for years and years and years and years and years, and then finally it's a problem. Why wasn't it a problem before? Because you just let it go, and so apparently it got too much, and now you can't let it go anymore. At least not enough to so that you have to complain about it on Reddit. Because of this, and also buying a house, he could not afford at one point. He doesn't have much in terms of saving. Was that before he married you? He's always, are we doing separate finances? He's always lived comfortably because he's always either had credit cards or didn't prioritize having savings. Okay. I can no longer work a 9-to-5 job. My disability and my future is uncertain with health issues. When my husband and I, not me and my husband, got married 2 years ago. Okay. All right. So if you got married 2 years ago, how long did you know him beforehand? And did you know about this money stuff? And did you talk about money stuff ahead of time? If not, you should have. And if so, you perhaps should have done it more so that you would realize this before, and then it wouldn't be a surprise. But a lot of people like to just ignore any money stuff, and we'll work on that later. I'll ask about that later. I don't want to be awkward and talk about money. No, be awkward and talk about money. Bring up Dave Ramsey on the first date. You don't need a complete accounting breakdown, but at least get like mindset on money. Where was I? I don't have. When we were married 2 years ago, yeah, we agreed that my savings would be reserved for my ongoing medical conditions and my future, since I don't have a pension like him, and we'll need those savings. Okay, and now he wants to spend that stuff. He wants you to spend money on it. Or is he spending his money on that, and that causes you to have to go into your savings to do household stuff? Is that what's going on? I don't believe in commingling, I guess is what that is. Commingling. That can't be spelled correctly, because it would be, I think, a dash there. If not a dash, it certainly wouldn't be two M's. My savings in my situation, since I am in a complex position, your little situation doesn't change the advice for combined finances. However, since he cannot be trusted, apparently, with spending your money, that's what it seems like anyway. I don't know for sure, but because it's way too much to read in this short time that we have, that I'm allowing for this question. Anyway, meaning I will need the money later. My husband doesn't have a history of being as financial. We got that. You don't need to restate over and over again. Divorce stats aren't good for disabled folks, and without this money, I would be forced to be reliant on my spouse, so that I would never be able to leave an abusive/bad situation. Yeah, so why'd you marry him in the first place? I don't really want to hear criticism. Yes, dude. It doesn't matter what you want. It also apparently didn't matter what you wanted when you married him, because you still married him without, really knowing his financial history and mindset. Or you just didn't know it and you ignored it. You can't do I'll put in so much time already. I was dealing with him, and then I'll fix him later. That's stupid. Where were we? Commingling. I'll need the money. I got it. I got it. You need the money. Repeating the same thing over and over again. Relying on my spouse. Okay. Did it go? I don't really hear for criticism from people about this part, about how this is anti-Dave Ramsey, because I've personally heard Dave Ramsey advise people to protect themselves in complex cases or marriages where it seems like the other spouse may not be on the same page, and that is true. Anyway, despite my significant health issues, I want to create a better life. Okay. All of this is justification station. Just what is the problem? What is it that the husband is actually doing? When I first started, oh, you started a business. Okay. Husband said things like, if this business takes off and that would be YOU''RE, making $1 million a year, I'll totally quit my 9-to-5 job and work with you. I kind of rolled my eyes because to make $1 million would, okay, see, this sounds like a great relationship already. You know what I'm saying? Okay, anyway, I've taken money out of the profits to pay down $30K that my husband owed in credit card debt. Okay, well, that was your dumb fault, I guess. Is this the early days when you were still trying to work together or something like that? My husband said that we should reward ourselves at the end of the year and buy a hot tub. I certainly want to reward myself, but when I saw that a decent one that won't break will cost $10K, I said we have to reinvest this money back into our business, and it's our business all of a sudden now. My husband complains about being burnt out and is upset. I think that we perhaps aren't using the money to fund fun things. Yeah, he doesn't seem to understand. Right, well, you need to have a conversation with, he ended the conversation. Okay, well, maybe you can't have a conversation with him because he ends them with saying he would rather live the rest of the years he has left by being in debt and at least getting to go on vacations, have a house, enjoying life like he sees others do around him. So he doesn't care about after he's dead and you're still alive for a while. He doesn't care about your well-being at that time. So the ones who work until he's 70. Yeah, we got it. We got it. So we have to find some sort of compromise. Well, he's right about that. About this idea about not living in debt. Yeah. Compromise on it. So, but I don't see anything. I mean, you compromised. You paid off some of his debt. That seems like you were doing something. What has he done at all that made your financial situation better? Maybe nothing. He said that he doesn't know anyone now who doesn't have some sort of credit card debt. Okay, if everybody jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? That's such a dumbass. But they have children and they go on vacation. That's great. Don't care about that. That has nothing to do with you and him. I think that both spouses should be on board to prevent future destitution. Sure. That doesn't matter, though. He doesn't have that same mindset. Are you dense and don't understand that yet? And you should have understood that long before you got married. And you're dumb for getting married without knowing that, or without realizing that, or ignoring that, whatever the situation was. And I feel like, for me, that in my situation, my spouse should be planning for, like, you don't get to control, you don't get to say what your spouse should be doing. You can have your little opinion, but you saying, oh, this is what people should do is dumb as crap. Take that in consideration. At least that has that. From my perspective, if we're going to make the, yeah, see, you're on Reddit when you should be talking to him about how you can compromise. And you do a compromise, and guess what? That means as we learned from Hopper and Stranger Things, that means halfway happy. That means you're not going to get completely everything you want, and he's not going to get, to live out his remaining life spending a lot of money. There's going to be a limit to it. And there's also going to be a limit to you making financials better. So yeah, you guys have to have a compromise, and that compromise might look very much like the baby steps. I love my husband. Do you though? But feel like for me, I need to plan separately from him if we have differing views on finances and debt. Yeah, I would try compromising first, and if you can't try compromising, I mean, why even be married? I mean, sometimes you can't be married to people you love because they're bad for you. So, and also, even if you split finances and you're doing yours and he's doing his, there are things that are in both of your names, like the mortgage or something like that. Maybe he just won't have the money to pay for half of it. Then what are you going to do? See, you're tying yourself to him financially. And so you got to be careful with that. And you might, it sounds like you resent him already, even though you supposedly love him. So I don't know. And, sorry for the things in here that I missed, but I did not have time to binge the entire 26 episode series. But yeah, he wants to enjoy the now, and he's 10 years older than you. So, and all of that should have gone into play. Maybe you shouldn't have married it. Maybe you didn't ask enough questions or have enough conversations about money before you got married. Simply was going out to lunch. So it says he's acting 95. And kicking the bucket any minute. Yeah, seems like it. But as always, we don't have his side of the story, and so, the whole preamble, the first 8 paragraphs were like her painting him in a bad light and justifying her feelings. Burner, and a lot of numbers behind it. 10/27/2025. I'm assuming a date that it was posted, maybe. Yeah, 10/27. Yeah, 6 days ago. Yes. So did it just to post this. Looking to move to a new construction home for a better location and space, but hesitant. Yeah, if it's more money, why do it? What's the reason for do it? Do not upgrade house just to upgrade house. That's so dumb. If there's nothing wrong with your house, why do it? Let's see what the dealio is. These are so lengthy today. My wife, 36 female, and I, 37 man, live in the suburbs of a large U.S. city. We have 4 kids under 9, 3 in school. Kids go to a private religious school in the next town over. You trying to move to that town just for their schooling? How about they go to school in your town at not a private school? How about that? Cost is about $20,000 to $25,000 a year. Hey, you could save $20,000 to $25,000 a year if you stay where you are. We're looking to move because we've outgrown our current house. Have you? How many? 4 kids under 9, with 3 in school. So 4 kids, 2 parents, so 6 people. How many bedrooms? Current house is about 2,000 square feet. Sid, I'm gonna need you to weigh. 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. Hey, well, that would have some definitely some room sharing for the children, for some of the children anyway. But I mean, in 3.5 bathrooms, that would seem to be an adequate number for the bathrooms anyway. We also want, see, it's always a want, outgrowing our house, and then we have a want too, and to be in walking distance to school and family. Public school is not an option. Yes, it is. You just don't want to do it. It is an option. You just don't want to do it. And that's fine. Knock yourself out, but then don't complain. And then don't, why are you hesitant then? Let's see why he's hesitant if he says. We bought our current house in for $280,000. We could put it on the market for $500 to $515. Okay. We have $210 left on the mortgage. We're halfway through 10-year adjustable rate mortgage. And is that what you should be doing? No, it should be fixed rate. Real estate taxes are about $10,500 a year. Total PITI is $20.50 per month. I mean, that's not gonna really matter for this question, I don't think. We found a house being built 1 block away from the kids' school and half-mile from their eventual high school. It will be finished late next year. It will be about 3,800 square feet. Well, you do have time now to stop spending money on things that aren't absolutely necessary. And then, but again, that's a whole other year. It said the kids are, there's 4 kids under 9. So you still got 8+ years with kids being in the house. So I guess like if the kids were only going to be in the house like another 2 years, then you don't upgrade for just those 2 years, just like that other question that we had. Where were we at? I got distracted. Finish late next year with about 30. Okay, I don't care about the $1.6 million purchase price. How much do we 275K saved? Yep, save more. Plus I can take a $50,000 loan for my 401K. No, quit doing stupid stuff. That's stupid. But trying to avoid doing so, you should avoid it by not doing it at all and not even thinking about it as an option anymore. And should be able to the builder needs $100,000 in non-refundable earnest money. Of course they do. This is why you should wait until it's built and then buy. With the rest due at closing late next year, I estimate we can save another $100,000 by closing. How about you save more than that by cutting some expenses now that you have, that you can cut? I'm sure there's something you can cut, even though you're not willing to cut the private school, which is most of the reason to move there, apparently. And is the high school private school, or is that public school and just all of a sudden public school will be okay in high school, but it's not now? So would love to know more about that. None of this includes the equity from selling our current house, right? Mortgage brokers said we should do a 7-year jumbo ARM. No, and no. The Ramsey advice is 15-year fixed. You can do it lesser if you'd like. But I mean, the 7-year jumbo ARM, and then you're subject to whatever the interest rate is at the time after the end of the 7 years. because it won't be paid off by then. Quoted the current rate of 5.75. Yeah, this would assume. Okay, all right. I don't care about any of this stuff. This doesn't matter for the question. Stay-at-home mom, $400,000 a year. What is the mortgage payment gonna be? It doesn't say that here. So we need to know what the mortgage payment's gonna be. Don't anticipate more than a $50,000 drop in income. Okay, so that would be $350. So I would base your life on that and your decisions on that. Wife would probably go back to work in about 3 years. And you can't base your life on a probably either. Don't count that. Plus the 200,000 in cash we'd get from the sale of our existing home would be our emergency fund. No, it wouldn't be. That's too much emergency fund. Also, that would go on the house. The equity in your current house goes to your other house, so you get a smaller loan. You're doing it wrong. You're thinking about everything wrong. No other debt other than an existing mortgage. Great. That part's great. I have $3 million in term life. Okay. None of that matters as far as changing houses. That doesn't have anything to do with the changing houses. Don't spend our money on extravagant material possessions. I'm sure there's some crap in your budget that you could get rid of. It just happens when you make $400,000 a year. Size and location are the most important aspect to us. We see this as a future home to create memories, host holidays, parties with family and friends, have kids walk to school, not have more kids, have kids walk to school, etc. Justification station for buying the new house. This will be perfect, and this is our forever home, blah, 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 blah. Am I crazy to think this is a possibility? Will Dave's take on this be hard? No, probably, because I'd have to know what the freaking monthly payment would be on this and how this is going to be on a 7-year. But that means you have to... So that's for 7 years, and then it changes to whatever else for whatever the rest of it is that you owe on that. So I don't think this is a deal where they would be completely paid off in 7 years. It doesn't sound like that from the numbers involved. Principal. Oh gosh. PITI was that principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. $10,000 alone for that monthly. Bam. Come on. Yeah, so you didn't tell me how much the mortgage is. And you should ask the mortgage broker what would the mortgage payment be. And guess what? It has to be, so you're going to be losing $50,000. So you're going down to $350,000 a year. And so the mortgage payment, including the PITI, has to be 25%. Or right around there. You can't have that thing be 40, 50% of your take-home pay. So that is what it would depend on finally. I know you have a little bit of cash to put to it, and you have time to save to put more to it, but you need to be saving more than $100,000 during that time, if possible. So yeah, I'd have to know what the mortgage payment's going to be. Sid advises that they get a home inspector because new build inspectors or new builds are shoddy these days. New construction home. They want each kid to have their own room. Yep. And she also says sharing room is good for kids because she knows because she had to share a room. I think. Would probably move before high school, but not right now if they can't do it without a bigger payment within the Ramsey recommendations. Yep. Yeah. Right. You going down in income and also wanting to buy a more expensive house. So, but as far as like the 7 year jumbo arm and stuff, I don't know how that works. I don't know if that's only a 7 year mortgage, which it definitely doesn't seem like you could afford that payment. Where is I'm just looking for the house. $280,000, going from a $280,000 house to a $1.6 million. So that is quite an upgrade in maybe not in square feet, but in a 3-car garage, unfinished bedroom, 4 bedroom. 4 bathrooms, only 0.5 more bathrooms. Pains me to say it, but that's the price of living where we live. Yeah, and you don't have to live there. We'd live here for at least 20 years. Yeah, you don't have to. See, that's, your same way where you said public school is not an option. Uh, Living there, public school is actually an option, and living there in that high cost of living city is also an option. And upgrading house is not an option. You could make it work in the old house if you wanted to. And if the kids don't like it, tough. So, and I feel like for me, guess what? Daddy and maybe mommy too, they want to upgrade and they want to have a nicer house too, regardless of the kids. Oh my goodness gracious me. It's been a long time on that one. We didn't get that many questions because they were so long today. What are we coming up for tomorrow? The plan is all week. Should be able to do an after show every single day this week. Let's see, I've been using baby step 1 done, baby step 2 done by end of year. Excellent. F1, FI, financial independence. Great, excellent. How do you guys configure home and auto insurance in terms of deductible and coverage? Okay. Well, should be full coverage on the auto insurance. Don't know what you mean by home. Slightly panicked about the house. Why? Too much money? Value of my home has dropped 15K. Oh, it's the rare losing equity. Normally it gains equity. Like 99% of the time it will gain equity at least a little bit. Which is part of the reason Mr. Ramsey doesn't yell at you for getting a mortgage. When is baby step 5 considered complete? Well, it wouldn't be complete until you had enough money in there so that it would generate enough through the whatever investments are in there to be enough for the child to go to college. Or if you pick a random number or you compute a number that you want to have for them when they turn 17, if that will happen due to your, because your math, the way your math works out, then you can say you're done. So, and this might be because they want to, because baby step 5 is before baby step 6, as far as paying off the house. So if you still need to save a lot for kid college, but you're close to paying off the house, like if you can pay it off in, a year or two, and you have young children, I wouldn't think there would be a problem with that, because then you could put the mortgage payment into the kid college fund to move or not to move. Don't make up reasons to move, because moving costs money, and especially people tend to move up in house and get a bigger house, that kind of thing, and that costs more money. Seeking advice on job offers, moving. We're just, these are the ones that will be coming up this week. If they are as long as the one, it may take a while to get through. If they're as long, hopefully there'll be some shorter ones than the ones we did today. Seeking advice on job offers, moving. Okay, we'll see exactly what that means. Baby step 5, 529 versus brokerage, the 529 state plan, as well as an ESA, educational savings account, which is a national thing, versus a brokerage account. The 529 and ESA have to be used for college. Now you can transfer it to another family member if the named child is not going to go to college. But brokerage, if you do it in just a brokerage account, non-tax advantaged, you would be able to give the money to the child to use for whatever they wanted to. First supplement, I can't remember. We looked up that before. I can't remember what that is. We'll look that up tomorrow. What course to begin with? What? I get out of debt. Not sure what program I should, if any. Yeah, FPU, Financial Peace University. You can also read the book, Total Money Makeover. Mother-in-law wants to give us down payment, but it's payment for refinancing a larger loan. That's going to be a NAR. That's going to be a NAR. Anything on that? Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to put that. It's nice she wants to give you money, but if she doesn't have the money to give to you, then the loaning is, borrowing it is not an option. All right, that would not be recommended. Oh, Sid was figuring out. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Sid, I forgot your formula, the 2.5. And she says, yeah, 350K of income times 2.5 equals an 875K house, or 875K mortgage. Now they do have yeah, that's still going to be too much, because it's 1.6 million. And they would be able to, it sounded like they would be able to drop it by, it was like 100,000 some that they would get from the equity on the house, and they have 200 savings or something like that, so that would be 3,000, but that's still 6 million, or 0.6 million, so $600,000 over what the Ramsey advice would be on that. So yeah, that is too much house, so that's a NAR on that. Okay, that's right, Sid. I forgot about the 2.5 formula. My bad. Alrighty. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, gotta do my plugs first. Almost forgot my plug. Alright, and obviously not any in my head. There we are. Once again, Coach Steve Money, Ramsey Solutions Certified Financial Coach. And if you are having money problems, or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me by emailing coachstevemoney@gmail.com, and we can work out that video conferencing appointment. coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Yeah, and you can send any questions about anything to that email address as well. Donations can go to paypal.me/CoachSteveMoney. Alternatively, the CashApp at $CoachSteveMoney, or a Walmart gift card to that same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams, and as always, subject to change, but I'm fairly certain that this will happen where there are Ramsey Show after show shows at 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. All of this week, Monday through Friday, November 3rd, that's today, through the 7th, that's Friday. And also answering your financial questions streams, and that's the 8 p.m. stream, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's every Saturday and or Sunday. Could be one, could be the other, could be both. You never know. Alrighty. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you very much if you have already done that and done those things as well. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day.